What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Estate Uncensored. We are live. We've got a great show on deck for you today. We're talking with Tim Fitzpatrick. He's a former agent, now marketing agency owner. We're going to talk about his journey from door knocking foreclosures in 2010 all the way to what he's doing now, helping people market and grow their businesses, working with professional service firms, coaches, consultants. We've got a bunch to talk about. We're going to get into Clubhouse right off the bat. We're going to talk about his journey, and then we're just going to talk a little marketing strategy for agents. So if you're in that situation where you feel like you need a better marketing plan, or the things that you're doing to market your real estate business are not as effective as you want them to be, this is going to be a great episode for you. We'll get into all of that stuff. So before we bring in our special guest, we've also got Gene Volpe here, the Evil Bald Ninja. He is on deck. We're going to bring him in a second. But first, before all of that, the co-pilot, firmly ensconced in the co-pilot seat where you belong, the junior grandmaster himself is here. He's not in the actual real official certified co-pilot seat because once again, he's in an undisclosed location. Greg McDaniel, what's up today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I appreciate it. I got my mic on point again because apparently I was coming through the computer mic for the last couple of shows. My deepest apologies to everybody's earballs. But you know what? We're going to have an amazing show. Tim's going to drop hammer on us hardcore. He and I are going to battle and banter. It's going to be like a civil war. I can't wait for this. I don't really know if that's going to happen, but it's still fun to talk about.
We'll turn it into a sales versus marketing smackdown. Greg, I will have to point out for the audience, this is one of the rare occasions where you are outnumbered. We have 3 marketing people on the show and only 1 sales guy on the show. So prepare for battle.
Oh, bitch, I'm down. Let's go, motherfucker.
All right, let's do it.
Now you threw it on the gauntlet. Now it's going to go. And by the way, I got hand sanitizer. Do you? I don't think you do. It means I'm cleaner than you. So it means I'm ready for battle.
Okay.
No. In all seriousness, I'm really excited to have Tim on the show. Gene, he hasn't shaved his beard. His face blanket is going hard in the paint, and I love it. But his head is just shining with knowledge. So, Gene, how are you?
I told you about my beard, right? Why do I wear a beard?
Gene, we just got the nose pinch from Matt, and we aren't even like 3 minutes into the show.
The reference.
Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say the reference to your head shining with knowledge. That I feel both great and bad for you at the same time, Gene.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to let that one slide. I'll be all over the Zillow killer in a couple minutes. Don't worry.
Oh, shut up. All right. Let's get to our esteemed host, Mr. Tim. How are you, brother?
I am fantastic, guys. I'm having more fun in this interview than I have in a while, and it just started. So,
you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad I can bring value to your life. This is great.
Exactly. All right. So Tim, give us just a quick bio, kind of who you are, where you are, what we do, or what you do, and then we'll dive into some stuff on Clubhouse. So give us just kind of the basic sketch of who you are.
Sure, absolutely. So I got started my entrepreneurial journey right after college. Got involved in a wholesale distribution company. We grew that for about 10 years, about 60% a year, and then we sold it. After that, as you had mentioned briefly, I got into residential real estate. I was in residential real estate for about 3 years, and then I shifted into marketing, which is what I'm doing today. And we're helping service-based businesses simplify marketing so that they can grow. We find so many people are just battling information overload when it comes to marketing, and we need to get it back to the basics and make it simple, because I've always felt like complexity is the enemy of results. So let's make it simple and make it work for us.
Love it. That's awesome. So before we dive into the background stuff, because I'm curious just how that unfolded, and we hadn't talked about your experience like selling off a company and then going into real estate from there. That's usually most people going into real estate are not coming off of just selling a wildly successful 10-year business. So I want to get to that stuff. That's hilarious. But let's talk a little bit about Clubhouse, because you've been paying attention to it. We wanted to go over, some new trend or tactic in marketing that everybody's talking about. And really, you hit the nail on the head. Clubhouse is the new, latest, hottest thing. What's your feeling on it?
I've kind of dipped my toe in the water. I know some people that, frankly, I have another marketer that I keep in touch with who's been involved in Clubhouse since December. She's been very active. She's there, 5 days a week hosting rooms. She's built an audience of, I think it's 17,000 people and growing at this point. So she's done really well with it. I think the early adopters that really jumped in have been able to take advantage of it. But, I don't typically jump on things quickly. Mm-hmm. And, so I've just been dipping my toe in the water to see what happens. I think it's a very interesting platform, but I think there are some downsides to it. There are some pluses. And I think they've really been riding the pandemic. And as things start opening up, it's going to be interesting to see whether the audience that has been there continues to stay there.
So Tim, let me ask you a question about that, because I mean, I got into Clubhouse very early. My boy James, the Zillow Killer, aka the Hat. Fuck you, Gene, for talking shit. But he invited me in, and I've had a lot of fun. But I've also found a lot of folks that get into the Clubhouse area, and there's some really intelligent human beings that are in there. They're talking truth and knowledge and honesty. And then there's a lot of people who get in there and they're like Prius drivers. They're like, oh, my own fart smells so good. And it just doesn't. It's not doing good value for the normal consumer. I mean, are you seeing that, or is that just something that I'm seeing?
I think that that's definitely there. The only thing I would tell you is I don't think that that's relevant just to Clubhouse. There's so much content out there, and there's so much bad content. Just like Clubhouse, whether we're consuming it on Clubhouse or anywhere else, we need to make sure that we're getting that information from a reputable source. So I don't think Clubhouse is out on an island by itself in that regard. You need to be careful where you're getting the information from.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of why I was explaining this on a podcast the other day, is I think people really underestimate just how much agents are bombarded with people trying to sell them stuff and trying to sell them on how they should market and trying to give them, some new training, some new thing on how to do it. And we'll get into some of the, have ways to simplify. But yeah, I mean, I think if you express any interest in that kind of stuff, all of a sudden your Facebook and Instagram feeds are just stuffed to the gills with people producing content and trying to get you to buy stuff to market your business. So I think people underestimate just how much the market is bombarded by that. And I think the overall effect of it, like to your point, Tim, is confusion, right? People feel confused about what should I be doing? Well, what are all the, they get bombarded with all the options, all the ideas, all the tactics, but there's not a lot of great content around the strategy. And so I think you hit the nail on the head that we see that very obviously on Clubhouse, but it's definitely a symptom of just kind of what's happening in the overall market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to Clubhouse, you said something really interesting about it being the growth of it kind of being aided by the pandemic. And even I hadn't thought about that, but it is going to be really interesting. There's parts of the country that are kind of feels like they're back to normal, and there's parts that aren't. So I don't know if that's already started to taper off, but I can tell you, there's a big difference in the way that different personality types interact with a platform like Clubhouse. Like Greg, you're the type of person that you'll hop on Clubhouse while you're taking a walk. If I take a walk, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to be on Clubhouse, and it just that's a just straight personality difference can affect that.
That's actually totally true. Like I will literally take the hound dogger on a walk, and I will jump on. My girlfriend and I get up really early in the morning to get her out the door, and I make coffee and get the sandwiches and everything else for her, so her life is a little bit easier. And guess what I do? I jump right onto Clubhouse and I start listening. So yeah, it is a complete personality thing. And Tim, in regards to where you potentially see this going, do you think it's going to fade out kind of like bad music? Or is it going to keep rocking and rolling like Metallica Black and Black?
First of all, that's an affront to AC/DC. How dare you? Yeah, so you just conflated Back in Black with the Black Album by Metallica. How dare you? How dare you?
I think when the dust settles, it will find its place. But who knows? They may get bought. I saw stuff about Facebook. It has been working on their competitor to that. all the larger platforms, as they get into the space, what's going to happen to Clubhouse? I don't know. It remains to be seen. I think it has its place, but I don't, for me, I think there are some significant disadvantages with something like Clubhouse, because it's, at least for me, I like to consume content when I want to, and I want to listen to something specifically. Well, if I miss something on Clubhouse, at least at this point, you had mentioned, Greg, that they were talking about starting to get more recording, but up until this point, it's live, it's done, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And I don't consume content that way, but a lot of people during the pandemic, what were they doing? They're at their house, they maybe they should have been working, but they were goofing off. And they're like, cool, I'm just going to jump on Clubhouse. And all of a sudden, 3 hours later, they're like, oh crap, I better get some work done, right?
Oh, by the way, you can say, oh shit, it's over.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I try to watch myself, but
yeah, exactly. I was going to say this podcast will create bad podcasting habits because it'll start. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But you know what? So Tim, are you saying that Matt should not put any more time into his MySpace account?
Yeah.
Damn it! I'm releasing all my new music there, Greg. Come on now, you're killing me.
What? Wait, what is that? What is MySpace?
It's where Matt goes to get away.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, what's the last? What's the last platform that you had this kind of buzz behind and then completely flamed out? Like the ones that come to mind are, was it Blab?
Oh my God, I love. Yeah, Blab was
Blab.
The video version of.
I did too.
Yeah,
I love Blab too. That was awesome.
Blab. Oh my God.
And by the way, both extroverts, bud. Just to point that out. Greg and Jim, both extroverts. I, however, thought it was stupid. Never once jumped on.
I'm sorry. Sweet. Oh, Matt went away. Okay. And he's back. I'm sorry. That was such.
Let's
wait before you jump. I found this is what I liked about Blab. I was heavy into my networking days back then, and Blab was like the way to go to networking without having to leave the house. Yeah. So it was like one of these things where you could jump on with people, watch what they were doing, and go, yeah, I think I want to meet that guy and give him my business card. Whereas like if you were in a room, you had to do that. You had to physically walk up to somebody. With Blab, it was like you could search for different things you wanted and then jump in and meet them. And I met some really good people like that. And I kind of feel like Clubhouse is sort of the pandemic's version of that. So like in my head, I see a bunch of guys sitting around a table that were responsible for these conventions. And they were like, it really sucks that we can't go to these conventions. What if we could do it online? And I think that's kind of how Clubhouse came out of it. And so I wonder if, going back to your question, if when this opens back up and conventions and these things happen again physically, will people rather go there? At least I know there's going to be a rush because people want that human contact, right? So I think people will rather go there initially and immediately. And then will that die off and it become one of these things where because it's real convenient when you don't have to put pants on and do stuff like that, right? So,
is this a personal thing? I mean, are you wearing pantalones at this point?
You know that I don't wear pants 70% of the week. You know that about me already. We have enough. I mean, you know that. I don't know why that's a question. I think the audience knows that. So, yeah.
I don't know, Gene. That's new to me, but thanks for the visual. I appreciate it.
Poor Tim. He's like, I gotta sign off. This is too much. You guys are
business up top.
I'm still trying to like comprehend this whole Blab thing. I mean, I don't even know what the hell you guys are talking about.
Oh, seriously? Yeah, it was like it was a video chatting platform where you could bring in, I think, Greg, you could almost bring in members of the audience in, right?
Yeah,
so you could start off with one or two people and it would be split screen, but then you can invite people in and would go to like a 4-screen like what we have here.
Yeah.
And so it was very much like Clubhouse where you could kind of be in the audience, comment, and then get invited to jump onto this like live streaming video conference. Yeah, it was literally Clubhouse plus video, which is hilarious. That's why Clubhouse feels so odd to me, because it feels like 5 or 10 years behind where the technology is at. Like I was like, we've had this before, and it was with video, and it got a whole bunch of buzz, and then just kind of went away. But that's what Blab was.
Don't you think that's part of the allure of Clubhouse, though? Is that you don't have to, like, I keep hearing people say all the time, "Wait, I don't have to be on video." Like, I feel like the timeliness of it was good because everybody's so sick of Zoom that they're like, "Oh, I can talk to people and learn shit without having to." as people see my face and my messed up hair. Like that's kind of what I feel like is going on in the world right now.
It is, and also people can do it. Everyone's doing it on the fly. In regards to like they're in the car, right? They're out walking the dog. They're petting their goldfish. I mean, it's really whatever their flavor is. But I mean, it is something that allows them to be fugly and still have influence in regards to what they're going to talk about. And by the way, everyone is listening. All the guys on the show are laughing their asses off. It's very silent.
I love the word fugly. It's so great. I was going to say, if you can take one good profile picture in your entire lifetime, you can be on Clubhouse and nobody will ever know the difference. It just takes one. Okay. So let's dive into Tim's background a little bit, because I want to talk about this building a successful business, selling it off, and then getting into real estate. So my first question is, what the hell? What the hell?
What the hell was I thinking?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I was thinking all that much.
Okay.
I shouldn't say that. After we sold the company, I worked for the company that bought us for another 3 years. They moved me out to Denver. So I grew up in the Bay Area in Northern California. And it was, for my wife and I, it was a great time to move.
Tim and I grew up in the same town, went to the same high school, which is really cool. I had to say it really quickly.
Crazy.
I just had to barge in on that one.
Super small world. So, so we moved to Denver. I got laid off from the company that bought us in 2009. Okay, so we got bought by a public company, and we all know what happened in 2008. They started freaking out. Started managing based on the quarterly financials and made a lot of short-term decisions. And in 2009, they closed 30% of the branch locations across the country. So I got laid off. So I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? What's my next chapter going to be? And I had always been interested in real estate from an investment standpoint. And so I said, look, I'll just become a realtor and learn real estate that way. And so that's how I kind of got into it. And and in 2010, there was tons of foreclosures. And so I started door knocking foreclosures. I was working for Keller Williams at the time. And there was a guy in our office who was killing it with short sales. He had started this way, and he kind of mentored me. And so I started doing what he was doing. I started having some success doing it. I was learning a ton about the foreclosure process and all these moving parts with short sales. And it was interesting, but I was so used to the business to business space. The business to consumer space was just not for me. And I got to the point where I was waking up every day going, oh my God, I got to do this again. I don't want to do this. And to me, what's the point in owning your own business if you're going to wake up every day hating life? So that's when I said, I gotta shift.
Yeah. It was kind of like I had very similar journey, actually, except I didn't sell off a successful business before then. I got in, so I was 26 or something like that. And I got into real estate in 2007 and had that same exact experience. Like I went after expireds. It was fine. But the B2C space just was not my favorite. I didn't have the emotional maturity at that time. I could handle it now, but I wouldn't want to. Now that I have the freedom that I have in the business that I have, I wouldn't trade that necessarily. But yeah, I started off thinking about it from an investing standpoint. And then I stumbled on Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If the agents are making as much as the investors on the average deal, and you can scale up and invest in like a real estate business to the point where you're not in production, that should be the goal. So that's like I had the exact same progression of events. You lasted longer than I did. I flamed out in 2007 when the market started to really go soft. I'm just like, this is not this is not what I want to do. So what'd you do after that?
So after that is I decided to shift into marketing, which is what I'm doing now. I've had three different businesses, and I don't know. I just love marketing. It's dynamic. There's things that are changing all the time, and there's so much need out there. It's people don't realize when they start their own business, they're like, they're excited about what they're going to do. And they don't realize that, man, if you don't have marketing bringing in leads, and if you don't have sales actually turning those leads into customers, you can have the best product or service in the world, and then none of it matters.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, I think a lot of agents don't realize that because they spend so much time because they want to deliver good customer service that they're not realizing that they feel busy, but what they're doing is spending so much time on the operations that they're not generating any leads and they're not selling people. And it feels like they're doing something. It's like, oh, well, I'm working. It's like, you're delivering the service. And that's sadly, the least important part of the business.
Yeah. And a lot of agents fall in the trap of, like you said, Matt, they're busy, right? They're busy. They've got some clients, they close deals. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, where's my next client going to come from? And so there's this just up and down roller coaster ride of, I'm busy, I've got clients, I close those. And then now where's my next client coming from?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That roller coaster ride, not fun at all. No. So let's dig into some specifics of what people can do, and talk a little bit about the simplicity, because I want to have that conversation. Before we get to that, Greg, anything that you have on that for agents that are, let's say, starting out, what are some of the things that they can do to kind of keep from getting sucked into learning so much about the back end of the business, the operations, and just dealing with the clients, that they forget to like get involved in the client, like actually getting clients? How can they avoid falling into that trap?
It is incredibly simple. It is want versus need. And if you want something, that's great. If you need it, you're going to do it. So if I was going to take a rope and tie it to the back of your neck, Matt, and I said, you're not going to get your next breath until you fight this rope off, that's a need. It's not a want, it's a need. So you're going to find a way to do it. A lot of real estate agents go into it with a want, not a need mentality. So unfortunately, they're like, oh my God, I still want to do blah, fill in the blank. It's not like, hey, motherfuckers, I have to do this and I'm going to kill or die to do it. Like, get out of my way or I will level you. Yeah. A lot of the folks who commit crimes, they have a need. Maybe it's a drug addiction, maybe it's a financial addiction or something like that. And they will commit heinous crimes because they have a need for it. Real estate agents just have wants. And that's the difference in regards to how you succeed or don't succeed. I mean, my dog needs to shit. So he goes on a walk.
In your house specifically, I'm guessing.
No, actually he doesn't. He won't do it in the house.
Good.
But so he has a need to go on a walk. He doesn't want to go on a walk. He has a need to go on a walk to drop a big steaming deuce that I have to clean up with my hands in a bag, which, by the way, I throw up every single time I have to do that, which is horrible. All the people that are in the dog parks, they're like, a newbie. I'm like, shut up, shut up.
I'd love to get video of that.
I will film that next time because it is horrific. That's why I like cats. They just bury their shit and then you scoop it out with a spoon. It's great. But when it comes to real estate and business and everything else, it's want versus need. And you need to understand the difference between these two. Like right now, I'm going through some things personally that it went from a want to a need. And I spend all of my time thinking about exactly how to get to where I need to go in regards for this issue to dissipate and become a non-issue anymore. And I'm solely focused on that. Again, it goes back to the dog shit in the dog park. His only focus is figuring out how fast he can get out of that front door, drop a huge steaming pile of you know what, so that he can feel better. Gene's just like, he's talking about Matt. No, I'm not. I'm not talking about Matt at all.
No, I just want to. I'm thinking about how I'm going to go back and rip that 2 minutes out of you talking. You spending 120 seconds talking about steamy dog shit, and we're going to roll that into Facebook ads so people can watch this show more often.
That's right. It's good. It's good radio. Oh my God.
Okay, so that's my Matt.
Okay, want versus need. Me. Got it. Want versus need. Right to the dog shit. Okay, got it. All right. And with that, Tim, I got to turn it back to you because hopefully you can get this podcast back on track. Oh my God. So here's what I want to know. When you first start working with somebody in professional services, like local services, what are some of the first things you want to get them, kind of maybe habits that you want to break, thinking patterns, beliefs, myths, and things that you kind of have to deal with right off the bat when you start working with somebody to try to help them make good decisions about their marketing?
Yeah, it's it all comes back to getting people out of wanting to jump into tactics immediately. The biggest mistake that I see people making with marketing is they skip the fundamentals.
Yep.
Okay. They skip the fundamentals because they're not cool. They're not sexy. Nobody's talking about them, but everybody's talking about, you got to be on TikTok or Clubhouse or wherever it is. And so they feel like that's where they need to be. But the problem is, if you skip the fundamentals, you're never going to have long-term success. I don't care what discipline it is. The fundamentals don't change. They are the same. If I'm going to stand up to the plate to hit a major league fastball, those fundamentals are the same today as they were 50 years ago, and they're going to be the same 50 years from now. Marketing is no different. You have to know who your target market is. Who are you going to serve and how are you going to serve those people? You have to have a great, clear, engaging message to attract that target market. And you have to have a plan of how you're going to get that message in front of that market. And so many people just skip that and go to tactics immediately. That's the biggest mistake that I see people make.
So you're saying plan versus tactics. Is that accurate?
Think about it like it's strategy versus tactics.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You have to have strategy in place first before you get tactical.
Okay, so let's break that down really quickly, because I think it's really important. When it comes to strategy, what would be something that you would inform or tell people to do for strategy, then get tactical? I mean, we can get tactical all stinking day.
Yes.
But what strategy? You're talking about, what are you going to do, right? How are you going to do it? How do you want to do it, right?
Yeah, and okay, I'm in real estate, right? Who's my target market going to be, right? Because when I got into real estate, one of the things I struggled with initially was, oh my God, anybody with a heartbeat that is a homeowner could potentially be a customer of mine, and so I was my radar was up all the time. When I started specializing in short sales, it gave me a ton of focus. I knew exactly what I needed to do each and every day to generate new business. And too many people get into real estate and it's who do you work with? Oh, well, anybody in the East Bay. That's too damn broad. We have to have focus, because if we don't, we have no idea where to start. But when you hone in on who you want to serve, then you can start to determine all these places where those people are. And that's where you need to be to get in front of your ideal clients. But we can't, if you think about Amazon, okay, we look at Amazon and we go, oh my God, they sell to everybody at this point. But they didn't. When they first started their business, they were an online book retailer. Yep. That's what they did. They nailed that market, and then they started to expand out from there. In real estate, you have to have an idea of, do you want to be the specialist who sells, high-end homes in Danville? And gosh, high-end in Danville is that's a relative term, right?
Yeah, I was going to say.
But we we have to have an idea of where we're going to. Am I going to work with first-time home buyers? Am I going to work with boomers who are downsizing, right? Because when you can start to really hone in on who you're going to serve, then you can start to think about, how do I need to communicate with these people to engage them? But if you're just trying to attract everybody, the message you put out there is not gonna resonate. It's gonna fall flat. So we have to start with who we're gonna serve first.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, that's really interesting. Gene, going back to you, because you're working with a lot of the same crowd, the same types of folks that would listen to this show. You're helping them do a certain type of marketing for them. Are you seeing the same type of issue where they come to you for the tactical stuff and that's where they want to start?
No. Yeah, I would say, I think people put the cart before the horse a lot of times, right? So I think if you go back to what Tim was saying, I think that there's something to be said about building the foundation of the house first, right? Yeah. You can put all the bells and whistles inside of a house, but if it's built poorly, it's going to fall. So I think it's just, we've always gone back to the basics with this. And I think it's just a matter of getting the right banners and getting the right information. And, even in real estate, like I used to say in training all the time, it's I guarantee if you've ever switched a brokerage, I guarantee that I could go out and find some information about your old brokerage because you never changed it. And when that phone call comes in from a consumer to your old brokerage, are they going to call you up now and let you know you missed the call? Here, we're going to connect you with the Keller Williams agent, even though this is the Weichert office? Probably not, right? So I think people tend to overlook. We talk about Googling yourself all the time, right? And I know Greg will giggle when I say that. Greg Googles himself 3 times a day. But you should.
I'm going to Google all over your Facebook.
Oh my! But it's an important element of what you do. I think if you just go to an incognito browser or do private browsing and take a look, I think that'll be the first step as to tell you exactly what you need to fix first before you get to the tactical.
Yeah, it's a good point. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So get back to basics. Start by choosing who to serve, which, I mean, I love that. It's definitely one of the things that we talk about on the show. And I think it's one of the things that real estate agents especially have a hard time with. And Tim, you found a niche, and I don't know why you chose to kind of focus on foreclosures, but in an area where we're kind of in this, we don't really know where the market's going. We don't know what the next version of foreclosures and short sales is going to be. I think it is hard for people to think creatively about where can I specialize. And I think that's one of the biggest stumbling blocks for agents I've ever run across is how do you specialize when it's not a massively up and down market where it's super obvious that there's one type of thing you should start doing.
Yeah. And I think the way that I usually recommend people start is by looking at it. You have past clients, you have current clients. Let's keep this simple. Ask yourself 3 questions. Who do I enjoy working with? Okay. Why do we want to work with people that make us want to bang our head against a wall?
Man.
2, who are our most profitable clients? And 3, who do we do our best work for?
Yeah.
If we can work with those types of people consistently, man, we're going to be happy. We're going to be getting, they're going to be happy, which, from a real estate standpoint means they're going to work with us again, or they're going to want to, more importantly, refer us.
Yep.
So let's start there. And then you can start to look at, what are the demographics of the people in that group? What are the psychographics of the people in that group? How are they feeling? What are the results that they're looking for? What are their wants, their desires, those types of things? That's an easy place for people to start. But, you can niche in, types of real estate, right? Like whatever. I mean, let's say I'm in Miami and I'm the condo expert. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. It could be type of real estate, or it could be the people that you specialize in working with. Mm-hmm. So you could be a relocation specialist or, whatever it may be. But I think you have to choose something. And just because you choose something doesn't mean that's the only type of business you're going to do. It just means that is where you're going to focus your marketing efforts. You're still going to get referrals, and you can make the choice of, hey, is this going to be a good fit for me or not? Beautiful thing about real estate is if it's not a good fit, well, you can refer to somebody else and make a 20 or 30% referral fee. Yep. So not a big deal.
Yeah. I think that's one of the hardest things for people to get to. It's just, well, if I tell people I specialize in condos, I'll never, ever, ever sell a house again. It's like, well, no, people are going to get referred to you. If you're really good at selling condos, they'll go, hey, I've got this neighbor of mine. They're selling their condo, but they want to buy a house in the city. I know you don't normally do this sort of thing, but is there any way you could make an exception for my friend? Like, well, yeah, of course. Like I'll be happy to. Or you'll sell somebody a condo and their grandma has to sell their house to downsize and move into assisted living. And they're going like, hey, I know this isn't what you normally do, but would you please talk to her? And then, like you said, you can kind of make those decisions, but people have a harder time understanding that just because you specialize in one thing doesn't mean that's the only people you'll ever work with. And because people are still going to come into you. But I really like what you said about focus. Like once you decided to specialize, it just gave you a focus. What does that feel like when are you waking up in the morning knowing exactly what you're going to do?
What it does is it gives you clarity of exactly where your priorities are. And when you have clarity, you have less stress, right? Yeah. We create stress in our lives because we don't have clarity. We don't know what our priorities are. But when you know exactly what you need to do, you have clarity, and it's so much less stress.
Oh, shit.
I think you just
sorry, Tim. I'm so sorry. I hit the wrong button. So sorry.
Greg was not happy with that comment apparently because he immediately kicked him off the show and brought him back. Oh my god, that's funny.
But I think clarity, like what you're saying, Tim, is so important that a lot of folks overlook it because it's so obviously important. When it comes to clarifying, like when you have kiddos, right? Like Matt. He has, his 3 obese little insulin sucking troll babies, which I'm going to show you guys right now. These little guys, he's so clear on getting them McDonald's that he's just on point on that one. but that is freedom, because then there's no distractions in your world anymore because you're laser focused. If your husband, wife, significant other was being tortured or something horrible, and they said you have to give me $1 million at this day at this time, and dude, the only thing you'd be doing is focusing 100% on doing that exact task to get that money to them to save your significant other, you do it. But people don't.
Are you sure
on that? Huh?
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Well, Gene, thank God your wife doesn't listen to the show.
I was going to say some people
get away with it.
Some people like their wives. I would assume that those people would do it. Yeah.
My point is this for everyone who loves their spouses, is that and their business partners and everything else. And all jokes aside, Tim, Matt, and Gene, I'm going through a metamorphosis right now. I'll talk about this with you guys off air. And it is in regards to my business. And I am having to focus very hard on some different issues that I haven't had to focus on. And it is fucking hard to do this because it's horrible to think about. But once I wrapped around my brain around this, it became as easy as pie. Matt, I mean, Tim, are you seeing the same thing when you see people really focus in on certain things? Their clarity gets super, super focused and their business explodes.
Absolutely. Because they know exactly what they need to do, and they're not focused on being busy. They're focusing on executing on the right things that are actually going to move the needle. Super, super important.
Interesting. Well, it's about time Greg is going in for his surgery he's been saving up for. I assume that's what this is about.
I'm so glad you said it. I'm so glad you said it. The transition is underway.
That's right. Exactly. Well, I mean, Greg, I mean, he's just setting himself up for a nice run for governor this year. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Oh my
God. Greg, it's I respect your bravery. That's all I have to say. Respect your bravery. Oh my God. Let's start winding up. So I'm sure we'll have a couple more questions for Tim before we wrap up. But Tim, how do people get a hold of you, and who should get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of me is at our website, which is rialtomarketing.com. It's RIALTO marketing.com. If you guys want some resources on those fundamentals that we've kind of touched on today, you can go to rialtomarketing.com/real-estate-uncensored. And there's free resources there to help you with that. If you get stuck in your marketing and you need help pushing through those roadblocks, just click the Get a Free Consult button that's all over our website, and I'll be happy to talk to you. Like I said in the beginning, we primarily work with professional service companies, coaches, consultants. We don't work with a ton of realtors, but on the strategy side, we could certainly help you if you're running into some issues there. So
love it.
I just hope you found this helpful, and look forward to catching up with you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got that thrown up on the screen. That'll be in the show notes if you're listening later. There's a lot of great stuff there. He's got his entire blog, and there's some additional resources there. Simple marketing plan template. What's funny is if you've ever done YouTube research on what agents are looking for, marketing plan is one of the top most searched for things on YouTube. And for whatever reason, agents feel like that's what they're missing is that plan. And I think, Tim, you hit the nail on the head. What they're really missing, they don't need a plan necessarily. The plan comes from the clarity of choosing who you're going to serve first. Like until you have that clarity, you can have people feel like they need a simple marketing plan and stuff like that, but they've never made a decision on who they're going to serve. And I think until they really make that decision, it's really hard to put a plan together. You can't put a plan together where everyone is your ideal client.
Totally agree. And the marketing plan that is at that link, it's a single page marketing plan, 6 steps, 90-day marketing plan. Super simple.
Yeah. Love it.
So even I can finish that.
Yes. Even you could finish it. Yeah.
See, Matt, I told you I could do it.
Everything was spelled wrong.
I dumbed it down as much as I possibly could.
Gene,
I love how Greg just owned himself. Like I didn't have to say anything. Like I wasn't going to make that comment, but Greg just dived right in and basically owned himself. All right. So we know where to contact him. Gene, where do we get a hold of you, and what type of person should reach out to you?
I'm not going to take anybody who wants to chat about sports. Let's do that today.
But what about conspiracy theories, Gene? I'm really more intrigued by that than sports right now. Can I call you and talk about conspiracy theories?
Yeah, I'm more of a sounding board for conspiracy theories. I like it, especially with the shots and everything right now and the masks. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But just go either on Facebook, friend me up. I got a couple spots left on Facebook, or the Gene Volpe on Instagram. They're the 2 spots right now.
Cool.
That's where you get me. Yeah.
Well,
Greg, same question.
Gene, you did turn me on to conspiracy theories. So
that's a true story.
It is a true story, and I've been plaguing Matt with my thoughts ever since. When it comes to the masks and everything else.
Yeah, thanks, Gene.
Dude, actually, here in California, it's not a joke. Yesterday, I'm having, and I want to dive in real quickly before I jump off here, is the fact that here in California, they have lifted the outdoor face mask mandatory wearing, which I think is fucking retarded for anyone who actually wants, in my opinion on this. You're a moron if you wear it outside. But I mean,
I was wondering where you're going with that, Greg.
But it comes down to like just being yourself and finding your tribe. And so, I mean, I'm going to lunch after this show with a gentleman who I met at the dog park. And he walked up to me and goes, he's an older gentleman. His name's Tim. He's awesome. By the way, he's Tim and Tim. And dude, he and I are heading out. We're going to get some chili cheesesteaks, which, Gene, I told him that you're my boy from Philly, and I'm going to see how they taste. I'll tell you how they do. But he's like, you know what? I'm glad you're not a individual who wants to wear the mask. And I said, well, why do you say that? He and I got in a conversation. And the reason why I say this is because he's my tribe. And now we've formed a friendship over the hound doggers and no face masks outside. And now we have Philly cheesesteaks in California. Yes, Gene, I know they're not the same. Don't fucking hate.
Garbage.
Fucking asshole. But we're doing our best.
We're not wrong.
Anywho,
I don't know where that story was going, but good. Greg, who should reach out to you and how?
You should.
No, I should not reach out to you. I talk to you enough as it is.
No, you don't. You don't even return my phone calls, you dick. I text, I email, I send carrier pigeons. No responses. Nothing.
Well, your carrier pigeons show up and they just crap on my balcony here. Like, I guess please stop sending carrier pigeons.
That was my message.
Can I do your call to action for you, please?
No.
Okay.
No. No. It's my call to action, motherfucker. Okay, so it is, guys, go ahead and get a hold of me. You can guys reach out to me at 925-915-1978. We are actively looking for folks to join our EXP rev share line, our downline, our team. We have some incredible things we can offer to you. Also, I would love to give you any kind of coaching and tips that I have at a zero cost basis. So reach out to me there. My phone does ring. Matt pays my bill, which is very nice of him. Matt's laughing. But again, 925-915-1978. Let's have a conversation. Gentlemen, I need a color on the bow for the show.
Oh, gotcha. Hang on. I had one ready to roll. Cadet blue.
Oh.
Cadet blue.
What the fuck is Cadet blue? Okay, Cadet blue.
Gene, I'm starting to go Crayola. Yeah, that was a suggestion from one of our former guests that I actually have a box of Crayola crayons on the desk next to me, so I can throw out the weirdest possible color names as I can find. So I've got it pulled up on my laptop for now. But yeah, let's wrap a Cadet blue bow around this episode. Let's call it good.
We need Gene's color, Dick.
Oh, I got one. This color is hex code 6BBA52. A52. It's a green. It's an off green a little bit.
Okay, so we're going with Cadet Blue and an off green with some random numbers that Gene puts up there. Guys, please go out there and give us a 5-star and a 2-star like on all of the podcasting sites and the YouTube, wherever you guys are listening and watching our show. Please mention Tim. He is a legend. He's a huge piece of knowledge, and he can really bring value to your life. I love you. Gene loves you. Matt, he will tolerate you and put up, because he has a little piece of coal that's his heart, but it's okay. It's growing. He's like little tiny Tim. He's just growing over there.
Oh, it's growing. Okay, great. At least I get credit for that.
Yeah, it's grown by a fraction of 1/4 of an inch. But we love you to pieces. We couldn't do the show without you. Thank you so much, guys. And until next time, peace out, ninjas. We gone.